You're watching the 6:15 primetime newscast in the English language on Canal, the international channel. For joining us, my name is Gladys Sambodibon. Stay tuned for our major stories. The employers' cartel GICAM has presented proposals to improve on the tax system in Cameroon as part of preparations for the 2023 finance law. This was during consultations between the Director General for Taxes and members of the Cameroon's employers' cartel GICAM today in Douala, an occasion for the two to reconcile their differences. The detainees of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party will be appearing at the Central Regional Court of Appeal tomorrow for the first time after a series of hearings at the military tribunal. The defense lawyers made the announcement in a press briefing in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, today, and amongst the cream of lawyers to defend the detainees in the process is the party's president, Maurice Kamto. And it's still certainly not what some must have been expecting of traditional rulers in the Northwest region who have taken a firm decision by announcing a campaign to cleanse the region of the atrocities committed in the course of the ongoing socio-political crisis and promising to curse new perpetrators of acts in the Northwest region of Cameroon. Those were major stories, developments right ahead. Thanks for joining us once again. Detainees of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party, the CRM, will be appearing at the Central Regional Court of Appeal tomorrow in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, for the first time after a series of hearings at the military tribunal. The defense lawyers made the announcement in Yaoundé this Wednesday morning while advocating for a free and fair trial. Amongst the cream of lawyers to defend the victims is the party's president, Maurice Kamto. Hi, Tensia, tells us more.
There are still 94 of them behind bars in different units of detention like Bafoussam, New Bell, Mfou, Yaoundé Central and principal prisons. Political prisoners of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement arrested during their different street protests across the country. Among them, 3 aging persons and 9 in a critical state. The defense lawyers decried the conditions while in detention, with one of them succumbing to untimely death in New Bell prison.
Il y a une épidémie déclarée à la prison de New Bell, une épidémie de choléra. Et les chiffres sont ramenés à 46 aujourd'hui parce que, entre-temps, M. Dagueo Rodrigue est décédé de suite de la même maladie.
The relief information dished out during this press conference Wednesday in Yaoundé is that the hearings moved from the military tribunal to the Court of Appeal, as the legal minds urge the judge to follow the law with serenity.
What we expect to the Court of Appeal is to rule the law, to not be fear to apply the international law who govern the matter.
The trial to open this Thursday, September 15, at the Central Regional Court of Appeal may be boasted by Barrister Maurice Kamto, president of the CRM, who has deposited his memorandum of appearance to join the others in the legal battle for the liberation of the detainees.
And it is certainly not what some must have thought about traditional rulers of the Northwest region of Cameroon. Members of the House of Chiefs of the Regional Assembly have decided to launch a campaign to cleanse the region of atrocities committed in the course of the ongoing socio-political crisis and have promised to curse new perpetrators of these actions. The details with Sherifa Saleh.
Owing to the persistent security crisis in the Northwest region, members of the House of Chiefs at the Regional Assembly have announced a traditional cleansing exercise of the region. After meeting in conclave, the custodians of tradition have made their intentions known at the joint second and last day of the 8th session of the Regional Assembly in Bamenda on Tuesday, September 13, 2022.
We will lay curses on those who take up guns, ammunition, everything violent against the state of Cameroon. And we call on the elite, particularly not to respond nonchalantly.
With their presidency in separatist captivity for over 9 months, the funds have enlisted items needed for the traditional rites, which aroused some giggling in the hall.
Number 1, we need goats. Items number 2, we need fowls. Item number 3, we need palm oil. Item number 4, we need palm wine. Item number 5, we need salt. Item number 6, we need hot alakata pepper.
The list of items is expected to be submitted to this assembly for sponsorship. Meanwhile, as the presidential plan for reconstruction keeps dragging on, the regional council is nursing plans to rebuild destroyed palaces, hospitals and other public and private property, beginning with donation of didactic materials to needy functional secondary schools in all 7 divisions.
When you are helping people, you are helping because of need. But when our children work and they deliver the goods and they are performing, we ought to encourage them so those that are lagging behind will copy hard work.
Education stakeholders and beneficiary students in particular have expressed hope the gifts will spur them perform better.
That was Radha Stephanie Chin in that report. And then we take you to Melong in the Mongo division of the Littoral region of Cameroon, where members of the Evangelical Church of Cameroon have publicly rejected their pastor, describing him as unfit to lead the children of God. He was prevented from accessing the church premises, and consequently, his property were damaged by heavy rains. Morindi tells us more.
There is chaos at the Lome parish of the Evangelical Church of Cameroon. The newly appointed pastor has been prevented from accessing the church premises by Christians who have described him as unworthy as a spiritual leader. Even the heavy rains did not stop the actions of the elders. Consequently, all the belongings of the pastor were damaged by the heavy rains. According to Christians, those who do not honor the church and do not respect the principles enacted by the Bible should not be assigned to their parish. The personality of the person in question pushes us to reject him. We had written to the head office, but they ignored our views. The moment we heard that he was appointed to our parish, the elders immediately contested. Christians say they have equally alerted the temporal bureau, with specific answers still awaited. It is an embarrassing situation. The church builds and molds servants of God and sends them out on the field. They must then communion and collaborate with Christians. Temporal Bureau has been alerted with solutions still awaited. The situation quickly turns into a commotion, causing disorder within the parish.
And some 4 persons supposedly involved in the theft of a 5-month-old baby in public were presented to the public. That was yesterday, and will be before the public prosecutor in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, this Wednesday. They were arrested last September 9 by elements of the Research Brigade of the National Gendarmerie. The details with Beatrice Gabo from the nation's capital.
The driver and passenger discussion started inside this cab, reaching Carousel and Ekunu neighborhood in Yaoundé. The main suspect, a lady in her early 30s, confided she needed baby so badly after 12 years of marriage. And a 500,000 proposal captured the driver. That was September the 3rd. Numbers were exchanged as the driver checked around. He found a catch 22-year mother of a 4-month-old baby. He lured her with a drinking rendezvous. She had to come with her baby, and she did on September the 5th. While enjoying their bottles, the driver invited the other customer. In the middle of it all, he asked the young mother to get him steamed pork some 50 kilometers away.
So while the woman was out to buy the pork meat, the madam left with the child and escaped. When she returned, she discovered that the taximan was no longer there. That's when she discovered that she had been fooled.
She then reported the case at the Mimboman Gendarmerie unit. Investigation was opened. On the 9th of September, the baby was found.
This child was found in a traditional doctor's house and had stayed in that house for 3 days. We don't know actually what that man was giving to the child, but he said he assumed that the child was sick, and so he was giving some treatment to the child.
The baby was handed to the mother.
Merci à la gendarmerie, la brigade de recherche de m'avoir aidé à retrouver mon bébé. Je leur dis vraiment merci. Merci beaucoup.
And all 4 involved in the chain in custody at the gendarmerie are before the public prosecutor this Wednesday.
Principal suspect, Madame Mingo, the taxi driver, her husband, and the traditional doctor.
The civilo-military corporation saluted.
National Gendarmerie work hand in gloves with the population. So if the population is collaborating with us, I think it is going to really help us.
This as they advised parents to take care of their children as they go and return from school.
And the sanitation measure undertaken by the administration to clear off the Nkwambang Junction and to ease circulation along the stretch of the Nkwambang Highway has registered its first victim, the demolition of the Nkwambang market in the wee hours of Wednesday by the mayor of Kolofamba, Mefu and Afamba divisions of the central regions of Cameroon comes 1 week after a deadline that was given by the governor of the central region of Cameroon. Details with Beatrice Gamo once again.
The outburst, one of disbelief, this Wednesday morning of September the 14th, as the traders of the Nkwambang market could not believe their stores, shops and sheds in temporary building material brought down by the mayor of Kolofamba. The action follows instructions from the administrative authorities of the Mefu and Afamba. The governor of the central region has agreed with the elites of the area following a recent consultation in that light last September the 1st. After the sensitization by the boss of the central region, and despite the 1 week deadline, it is 2 weeks after that this action was taken.
One of the solutions is for the market. There are other 3 markets which are not recognized by the council. All the traders will move to where the council has provided.
Sanitation measures to clear and open the Nkwambang Junction, a major crossing from the center to other regions, and the Douala-Bangui corridor. The early warning and sensitization notwithstanding, the traders are not happy relocating to the new site at the 10e Marais. Many feel not only angry but also frustrated, not sure of what awaits them the other way. Like the market, loading at filling stations also forbidden around that area. Local authorities urged to look for befitting sites for heavy trucks to station while waiting for departure time. Worth recalling that there are measures to curb traffic, like insecurity and many, rife around and along the Nkwambang Junction.
And we now talk economy. The employers' cartel GCAM has suggested a drop in the minimum tax and a drop and or exoneration of certain taxes that do not encourage businesses in Cameroon. The more than 14 proposals were presented to the tax administration by GCAM members today during consultations between the Director General of Taxes and members of the employer cartels GCAM. The details in this report.
The private sector continues to question why enterprises in Cameroon still pay exorbitant minimum taxes of up to 60% of their turnovers, why the personal income tax is not applicable on the higher tax bracket threshold. These are a few worries which the employers' cartel GCAM needed answers from the tax administration.
First concern of the GCAM was about the taxation of the revenue, because here in Cameroon we have a particular system. In Cameroon, when, for example, you have at the end of the year you have not have a gain, okay, you need to pay a minimum tax. And this is not normal, because if normally you pay tax because you gain something. When you have not gained something, it's not normal that you pay tax. Then you have the issue of the administration of the tax, because sometimes when you have a dispute with the tax administration, you need to pay something, a caution. Sometimes you need to pay 15% or 35% of the total amount that is asked to you.
With such worries, the private sector proposed, amongst others, a drop in the special income tax to a general rate at 10%, average rate at 5%, and reduced rate at 2%. It equally calls for an exoneration of the dividend tax on income for movable capital and incentives for investments in communities.
We need to come to a system where you pay when you have a gain, not you pay even when you lose money. We hope that we will have a real dialogue with the tax administration in order to change our system, because we really want to work with the tax administration in order to achieve a better Cameroon.
The Director General for Taxes, Modeste Mopa Fatwing, assured members of GCAM that their proposals shall be examined and implemented gradually.
Strike war between Cameroon's Employers Association GCAM and the tax administration over lack of consideration of the former's proposal to better the tax system in Cameroon. The two structures have reconciled their differences and have taken the commitment to work together. The Director General of Taxes is in Douala, consulting with the employers, cattle, GCAM and other businesses, as we hear in this report.
It is recurrent. The proposals of the private sector for the development of Cameroon's economy hardly taken into consideration, and this has led to strained relations between the tax administration and the private sector for a couple of years. The Director General for Taxes is therefore in Douala to reconcile differences with the Cameroon's Employers Cattle, GCAM, take note of their proposals for the adjustments of the tax reforms in 2023.
We are on the eve of a new financial law, and we've come to the headquarters of GCAM to extend our hand to them, to tell them that we're ready to gather their contribution, and we're going to have further consultation with them. And I was very happy to notice that the president of GCAM was totally aligned on our approach, and that we're going to work together.
After frowning all these years to the extent of boycotting consultations with the tax administration last year, GCAM's president, Celestin Tawamba, emphasized on the necessity to restore confidence between the employers' cattle and the tax administration to change the paradigm with the rapid revival of enterprises.
We hope that the next financial law take on account our main problem, the main problem of our proposition. And now we have to work together with the DGE, and we are online now. The diagnostic is the same diagnostic. Now we have to work together to find a good solution.